So I do like how 22 kind of highlights what is important for men, and then 25 kind of highlights what is important for women. Because it's like 22, wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. Give them the respect they deserve.
Right.
And then 25, it's like, husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave his life. So give the women the love they want.
Right.
It's like women respect the
Give
men.
those respect.
Men love the women.
Right. It's such a...
It's what they both prioritize.
Right, and it's such a... this is so perfect. If you look at what men and women crave in a relationship, I feel like all men want respect from the female, and all women want just love and affection from the man. I feel like it's... Now, that comes in different forms, but I feel like that is the end
I'm not
result.
saying like no love for the men.
No.
Yeah. I was just saying attention.
I feel like...
Men are very attention driven.
Right.
Well, not all men. A lot of men are attention driven.
I would be crushed to be in a relationship where I'm not respected. I would be crushed. That would devastate me. I was in a relationship where I was not respected.
Yeah.
Like that's crushing for a man. I feel like all men would just that's a big thing you crave in relationships. And for a woman, maybe you respect her, but the affection and the love isn't there. They'd be crushed. Yeah, and the less emotion would, in the same way, destroy their self-esteem. So it's this is very relevant. I mean, we talk about how the Bible is super relevant. I mean, it's got
through all the generations, every generation.
Yeah.
Just to add on what George said, it's very important, just what you highlighted. And I think one thing why it's important for us to subject ourselves to what the Bible is saying is because I grew up under two human beings that raised me, my mother and my father, and there was maybe a certain pattern that I observed, and I can come into a relationship with that mindset.
Yes.
Some may be proper and some may be improper.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Bible is saying this is how the husband ought to be like.
Yep.
This is how the wife ought to be like. So even though I might have this thing in my head, this is how we want it to be, the Bible is telling me no.
Correct.
Do it this way. And then we can also look at examples of different couples in the Bible, how were they portrayed and how did that.
It reminds me of all that furniture that we try to assemble ourselves without the instructions, and you always see that one piece left over. You're like,
why the heck is
something's
this
wrong
here?
here.
I have 4 extra screws. Gotta get those to me.
You can it looks okay, but you always go back to the instructions. You're like,
And then it gets
that's where I messed up.
It
At.
gets
I see
shook
it.
the wrong way. And
Yeah,
it collapsed.
you know what? You put that piece in, or the pieces that you snap in is a one-time snap in. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't even take this apart now. You're like, I'm gonna live with it. Whatever. The shelf's upside down. I don't even care.
does it still hold things? Yep, we're good.
It still does its job.
But what I like about these verses, they kind of create something that, on like a balance where on either side, if one side is lacking, both will fail.
Correct.
In a sense that, because it's saying that wives submit to your husbands, so the husband is head of the household. He should know what's going on.
Yeah.
Which means that he should be communicated to.
Correct.
But the only way she will confide in him everything
She can trust
is
him.
if she feels like he cares about her enough to where Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her, basically to die for her.
Yeah.
She'll only confide that confidently if she feels that from him.